Hey there, cats and dogs. Greetings from my animation cell block. Today, I would like to share with you an excerpt from a conversation I had with Anne Beal. We recorded this a little before the lockdown began in early 2020. Not only has Anne created our very excellent theme music, she is a very excellent animator and artist. You can see more of her work at annebealanimation.com and join her Patreon. This was recorded as an audio interview, so listen in and lean back, or lean back and listen in, or enjoy. So hi Anne, thanks for coming out. Have you actually moved yet?
No, I'm just moving from Brooklyn to Greenwich Village one shopping bag at a time.
Okay, yeah. That's the least stressful way of doing it probably. And you have plants and stuff.
Yes, we have plants.
Yeah.
You mean like
Yeah.
PLANTS plants?
Yeah, plants, PL.
Yes, I have. We have plants together.
Yeah.
Serious.
Yeah, that is
we
very
have
big commitment.
Poly the pothos.
Wait, you've named the plant?
Yes.
Okay.
There's
that's
Polly in the living room, Pervy the pothos in the bathroom, and then we have some other like plants we're ignoring, like this snake plant and this parlor palm.
I hope you're not actually ignoring them, because we have these fish. I haven't named the fish because the fish are an exercise in mortality.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Which plants I think are kind of eternal, but every morning I come in and wonder if we'll have the same number of fish that we had the day before.
I did recently see a really cool animation on sea monkeys.
Oh,
have you
yeah.
seen that one? I think maybe you probably
I think
know
Penny Lane
people.
made that film. Am I correct?
Probably.
I don't remember who animated it though.
I should know.
Julie Gratz, maybe.
I played the fifth.
Okay.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought they were animated. They're very sprightly and enticing, and I can see how, as a child, you would really, really want one.
Were you familiar with sea monkeys before this?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
You saw the ads and everything?
Yes, but I don't think I ever got real sea monkeys. I think I just got growing monkeys, like things that were little tiny sponges that you submerge in water.
Oh yeah,
and
those
then
are
they
cool
grow.
too. Yeah. But you never got brine shrimp.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I had a thing. Maybe I just.
Yeah, my cousin Henry got the sea monkeys. We were all really disappointed because we thought, or at least I was, because I thought that they were gonna, watch television, or at least they would be like little human things. But
Yeah, those things were like sexy too. And the comic book ads, they were very scantily clad, and they were.
So you were turned on by the sea
fish.
monkeys.
Yeah, of course.
There's a thing that's where furries came from, like
really?
the original not sea monkeys, but furrydom sort of has its genesis in the Disney Robin Hood movie.
Oh.
Because a lot of people were aroused by Robin. Robin Hood's a fox in that movie.
Yeah, he was very foxy.
Yeah.
And then Prince John, Little John, was the like cool, awkward lion with the great voice.
I don't know. Yeah. So the last time we saw each other was the Frida Kahlo thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. Brooklyn Museum. That was awesome. Yeah. And then we went to Daily Pie. Daily Pie is great, but like we were there at the very end of the day, so we didn't get the freshest pie.
Yeah, and the counter dude was pretty baked.
He was.
Yeah.
I don't smoke weed, so I never have gotten too good at telling when people are baked, but apparently I look baked all the time. So I've heard.
The last big thing you did, which to me was super interesting, and I'm sorry that I didn't get to see it in person.
I am too. I'm really mad at you.
Okay. I was going to go to Chicago.
You should have gotten a plane ticket to Chicago.
I was thinking of it, actually. There was something that happened around the same time, but maybe I didn't have any money. You did this big... What was the size of this thing?
So, since I'm being recorded, don't give me a hard time if I say the complete wrong dimensions, but in my mind, I'm right. Okay, so it's at 150 Riverside Plaza, and I think this video sculpture is 150 feet long, and it's 22 feet high at its highest point. It's a series of LED screens that are like columns.
Mm-hmm.
And so the best way I can think of to have you picture it is, you know how when you're turning up a hi-fi and you see like the volume bars that go up and down like the volume. Imagine 8 of those next to each other. So like you have 4 mountains of volume. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
And each little strip is its own LED screen, and they range from probably like 18 inches wide as small as like 4 inches in the very smallest parts.
And their heights are different too.
Yeah. Tallest is 22 feet. And then I think the shortest one looks like it's about 4 feet.
So how big was your project? Did you work in a bunch of sort of discrete 1920 by 1080s or what?
So my project it was way bigger than it should have been. The dimensions of the, like technically the dimensions are 16K or something. Like they're like it's 4K screens. And so if 4K is like 4 1920 by 1080s, then that's 4 times 4, which is 16 1920 by 1080 screens, which for me is 16 times more bigger
right.
than I usually work at.
Because you're not working with vector art. Everything you're doing is painted essentially.
Right. So I love to paint, and each frame of my animation is painted on vellum, and so I'll make loops of about 60 to 96 frames each. So like 5 seconds loops, 8-second loops, sometimes 4, sometimes 2, sometimes whatever. And so I match the loops to the music musically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to say it. Like so it's so cool though. I wish that there were a great way to capture it, because all the photos have to be slanted, because you can only get like 15 or 20 feet away from it when you're backing up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't back up far enough to see the whole thing.
There's no lens that can be wide enough.
Yeah. That I'm pretty sure I can even see it all with my peripheral vision. I'm standing right in front of it. So yeah, that was super exciting to work on.
And you worked with the
with
musician
Chris.
with Chris.
Yeah.
And well, you are a musical person to begin with, so
Indeed.
Does that make it easier or harder to work with a musician?
I think it makes it much easier. Because I grew up classically trained on the violin. I've been playing fiddle as, a fiddler. I don't do classical anymore for 15 years or so.
So what's the difference between fiddle and violin?
Oh man, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, everybody, the two people that are listening to this don't know.
Okay, so I'll explain that briefly before I start talking about the other thing with Christopher. But okay, so fiddling versus classical. So many.
It's
things.
the same. It's the same
instrument?
Okay, that's the number one question.
It's the same instrument. For me, the number one thing is fiddle is social and fun, and classical is strict and your teacher's really mean to you.
Okay. So it's the same thing. It's just the manner in which it's played.
Yeah, and also like the posture and the application. Don't get me wrong, classical violin is amazing, and there are a lot of really wonderful things. And I just, of course, disclaimer. For me, I love fiddling because I can play for dances, and I can play at jams, and I can improvise and all that. So that's why it's fun for me.
So you, on a couple of your films, you've done your music, right?
Yes.
But you've also done a lot of music, a lot of films for musicians, yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking about like whether me being a musician helps working with Chris, and yes, because I understand. Well, I can read music, so that's good. But for the most part, I think it has to do with timing and with being able to listen to the music and think, okay, well, this is 8 beats, or this is 4 measures, or I can experience the phrasing the way that a musician experiences phrasing, because I am a musician. There are plenty of animators who have just amazing timing innately in a different way, but I think because I've been doing music my whole life, it helps me to be good at syncing the image and to anticipate timing. And I think in a way my animation is visually musical because the way I make the however frantic dancing flowers or whatever, like I try to make those ebb and flow with the music.
So what's the name of the big thing in Chicago?
Okay. So the big thing in Chicago, the structure itself is called 150 Media Stream.
Right, but what do you call your piece?
My piece is called Tonal Conversations. So it sounds like an NPR broadcast.
It does, yeah.
Tonal Conversations with Anne Beal and Christopher Zuar, which that would be amazing. We are thinking of it as a series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to him compose. Literally, I'm listening to him write on the piano. And during the course of this, I'm sketching him and painting and just sitting around and listening and absorbing it and getting it stuck in my head and then going back to my studio and painting. And I get to listen to his, like, you know, sometimes I secretly record him and that's fun.
I think that New York is a single party consent state, so you're okay.
Yeah. So that's good. Again, I've gotten off track. What the hell am I talking about?
Have you ever seen these things? Have you ever seen, I'm sure you have seen a version of this, sort of a live drawing to
yes,
music
I have
or
seen
whatever. Have you guys considered doing something like that?
You know, I've done that, and I've done that at concerts, and it's not quite as fun because it takes me out of the music. It makes me stressed out about trying to create something right then and there. And with this, I can hang out with Chris for a few hours and like make 1 or 2 sketches and then come back another day and make a few more sketches and then go back to my studio and make my own drawings and sketches based on stuff that I've already seen and done. And also, it's not all me drawing him from observation, or some of it's like, oh, this reminds me of a flower blooming. Like that's kind of how I experience this music visually. And so I'm going to find a really cool, you know, footage of that and then use that as part of it. I really like working with time-lapse footage and just watching the time-lapse footage frame by frame and animating, watching the time-lapse. And just like, I'll just have like a 30-second time-lapse that I just put on the background and loop. And while that's looping, I'll draw it from observation in different poses.
Yeah, so you're not rotoscoping.
No, I don't rotoscope.
Yeah. But have you? I thought that maybe in some of your earlier films.
Well, I didn't inhale.
That's okay.
No, I have in the past.
There's nothing wrong with it. I was just wondering.
I have like I did this piece for Arc Iris called Canadian Cowboy, and considering it was a 7-minute song, I had a pretty tight deadline. I mean, I had a few months, but as a one-woman studio, that was still a pretty tight deadline. So I did some rotoscoping in that just to be like, oh, I wonder what would happen if I put some of my paper on top of my laptop screen and painted. And so I had this one sequence that's the last 40 seconds that turned out pretty cool. And so I used that. It was like 2 days worth of just rotoscoping and then finding the perfect loop to where I could go back and rotoscope a second pass from a different section of the video.
The Chicago project that started, you were at McDowell when that started, or it just came. So
we met at the McDowell Colony, a few years ago, and then we started this project at Yaddo, another artist residency.
What's the deal with the artist residencies?
Oh,
are these the only 2 that you've done, or have you done others?
For me, these are the only 2 that I've done. Chris did another one a few years prior called Brush Creek in Wyoming, and that sounded pretty cool. For me, I spent 7 weeks at the McDowell Colony, and that was a life-changing event for many reasons. I grew up in the country, and I really need nature. And I grew up in the mountains. And I was talking about the McDowell Colony, which is in New Hampshire, which in the middle of winter, it was amazing and so pristine and just a great way to like turn off my life and focus on my work and spend a lot of time alone in a studio and especially the quiet. Because I was living in Chicago at the time, which is a wonderful city and is also a big city. There's lots of noise and lots of stuff going on, New York is even worse as far as like lots of stuff going on, and I just need to get out of the city and be able to focus and work and create, and that's why artist residencies are so valuable for me.
Well, how does that affect your sort of daily work then, since you are kind of working in Brooklyn? And
Well, my productivity has been, I think, suffering a little bit. I mean, I know the 150 media stream thing was like a huge period of productivity, and that was a lot. But to tell you the truth, I think I could have done it a lot better if I mean, New York City is really hard. It's hard to get yourself together here. I've been here for 2.5. Well, no, I've been here for like 2 years. I still feel like every day, like, okay, when am I gonna chill out? Like, when am I gonna get a chance to like, breathe and feel like I know how to get where I'm going and set aside concrete time to work. And I think, I don't know, I commute back and forth a lot between Crown Heights and the Village. That can be unsettling, and in terms of breaking down your day into like, okay, I have these 5 hours to work, and then I'm going, it's tough.
I think you're right that unless you sort of surrender yourself to this is the life in the city, that it's a constant,
it's a routine
battle. Yeah.
It's like you got to get the routine. Mm-hmm. For me, I really need routine, and I haven't had a routine until kind of recently.
Well, it also must be super tough because you are working independently.
Yeah. I've done, I don't know, a few music videos, a few small stretches, things inside of movies or inside of short films. Yeah, not enough for me to feel like I'm doing great, but, enough, sort of.
How do most of these things come to you?
Well, it's a combination of people just calling me up or sending me emails and then me going after stuff. And right now I'm in a period of getting all my stuff together so I can show people like, hey, I did this cool stuff. Take a look at this organized thing that I now have to show you. Mm-hmm. So I'm spiffing up my website. I'm going back into some older projects that I wasn't able to spend quite enough time on to get as great as I wanted.
Oh, no, you're redoing old work?
No, recent work, not old work, but like work I did this year that I was like, or, in the past like 18 months that I was like, this could be really great. The deadline is tomorrow. Where, you turn in work that you're like, okay, this is pretty good, but it could be excellent.
You're doing stuff for like what, documentaries? Like specifically what kind of things?
Well, I've done some for like a big hospital in Boston, another music video for Archiris, and then some small sections in other little short films. Like this Manhattan-based filmmaker who I'm super excited that I got to do a little animation for, Christian Mercado, and he just got the jury award at South by Southwest for his film about Puerto Rico and the crisis that happened there. It's called Palante. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's how it is pronounced.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I love that film. That's not the one I got to work on. That was he made that like a year and a half.
It means forward or onward.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've seen it?
No, I haven't, but I just know what the phrase means.
Right. Oh, okay.
And is that the kind of stuff that you would want to be doing?
Yeah, I think so. I'd like to work with I like for someone to represent me and just be like, hey, Anne, we think you'd be good for this job. We'll do all the business work for you. You just work really hard and make something beautiful.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, that's kind of my dream, is like just being able to make really beautiful work and people paying me for it.
Like you were Canadian or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you live in a country that's not the United States.
I know, but I'm hopeful. I feel good about it. I mean, I feel pretty proud and excited about what we did for 150 Media Stream. I wish I could do that all the time and that I got paid 6 to 10 times more than what I was paid, because of considering like how many hours I put in and how many hours Chris put in, and like the expenses of getting our work professionally recorded. I mean, he took 19 musicians into a recording studio, like Sears Sound in Manhattan. We did a lot of work, and they had a budget that was set, and we knew it, and we poured all of our finances and resources into this project. And so I think that kind of left both of us burned out as far as being. And I feel like we're still recuperating a little bit. Like I'm finally at a point, like it's springtime and I'm back on the saddle.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
That's all for today, so thanks for listening in. I really enjoyed this conversation. I hope you got a little bit out of it. And if you did, please like, subscribe, share, do all those great things. Add some questions or comments. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you with more new, different stuff next week. I'm thinking of maybe getting into some criticism or whatnot. We'll find out. Stay tuned and see.